So hello students, in my last class I explained you about two special purpose semiconductor diodes. So we shall continue the same topic. This is my second lecture on the special purpose semiconductor diodes. In today's lecture I shall explain you about a special PN junction diode known as light emitting diode, which is commonly known as LED. You are all acquainted about LED. So LED stands for light emitting diode. Now this light emitting diode is usually not made up of silicon or germanium. They are made up of gallium, arsenic, phosphorus, indium and their compounds. So these are the specially designed PN junction diodes LED. It is a specially designed PN junction diode which emits light of different colors. Now, how this color comes? Actually, what happens? The PN junction, suppose this is the P material and this is the N material. So this one is the PN junction. So we know that in the P region, holes are the majority charge carriers. So these are the majority charge carriers, and in the N region, the free electrons are the majority charge carriers which are negatively charged electrons. Okay. Now when forward biased, that means P material connected with the positive and N material connected with the negative. So when forward biased, the electrons from N region they move towards P region and electron hole recombination takes place. And when electron hole recombination takes place, that means the free electron from the conduction band combines with the hole in the valence band. So if I explain you on the basis of band theory, it will be better for you. So look here, I am showing in terms of energy bands. So this is the energy. This is the valence band and this is the conduction band. CB and valence band BB. So we find the free electrons in the conduction band. And holes in the holes which are positive charge carriers. So holes in the valence band. Let me write like this. So these are the holes. Positive holes. Okay. Now when a conduction electron or free electron combines with the hole, this process is known as electron hole recombination process. And we know that the electron in the conduction band is more energetic. It has more energy. So when it comes and combines with the hole, a valence electron is formed which has less energy. So this extra energy, the energy difference, extra energy, which is equal to band gap energy, this is the band gap energy Eg. So this difference energy equal to band gap energy is emitted in the form of an electromagnetic radiation or photon. And the wavelength, the energy of that photon, as you know, energy E equal to h nu, or nu is equal to E by h, okay? Or you can find out the wavelength, that nu is equal to C by lambda equal to E by h, or lambda by C equal to h by E, or lambda equal to hc by E. So look here, we are now explaining in terms of energy gap, Eg. Eg means energy gap, energy gap. So here the wavelength of emitted radiation or emitted photon is inversely proportional to the energy gap, and when lambda changes, the color of the light changes. So how the LEDs are working? Now when the PN junction of the LED is forward biased, the free electrons from N region, they combine with the holes in the P region, and during this electron hole recombination process, the extra energy of the free electron or conduction electron is released, is radiated out in the form of a photon or light rays. And the wavelength of that light rays is inversely proportional to the energy, the band gap energy, or that is equal to width of the forbidden energy gap. Now we can use different types of materials for getting LEDs of different colors, because we find LEDs emitting light, red color light, some are emitting blue light, some are using yellow light, some are using purple light. So different types of colors are emitted. So the wavelength of the emitted light, that depends upon the material what we have used for designing that PN junction. For example, if you use gallium arsenide, that is gallium arsenide, then red light will be emitted. But if we use gallium phosphide, then green light will be emitted, green light. So see how the color of the light depends upon the material used. So by taking different materials, we can get light of different colors. So gallium arsenide LED gives rise to emits red light, while gallium phosphide LEDs, they emit green light. Now let us see the circuit symbol of an LED. Circuit symbol. So this is the circuit symbol of LED. You just remember, I gave you a circuit symbol of photodiode. In case of photodiode, the symbol was like this. This is the circuit symbol, circuit symbol of LED. But in case of photodiode, the arrows were inward. That means when light energy falls on a PN junction, then current flows. But here it is opposite. The function of LED is opposite of a photodiode. In a photodiode, when light falls, current is produced. But here, when current passes through the LED, light is emitted. So the function of LED is just opposite to that of the photodiode. So the circuit symbol is like this, circuit symbol of LED. And this circuit symbol, the LEDs are usually operated under forward biasing condition. They are operated under forward biasing condition. But photodiode is operated under reverse biasing condition. So if you are asked to distinguish between photodiode and light emitting diode, then you can write the differences. That photodiode, it is a special purpose PN junction diode which emits, when light falls on this diode, then current flows. But LED is a special purpose PN junction diode in which when current passes, then light is emitted. Secondly, that a photodiode is operated under reverse biasing condition, but LEDs are operated under forward biasing condition. Then third thing, that while designing photodiode, we make use of silicon and germanium, but while designing LEDs, we do not use silicon and germanium. We use some other compounds such as gallium arsenide, gallium phosphide, etc. to produce LEDs of different colors. Next one, what is the working principle? That is the working principle of LED is the photoluminescence. Photoluminescence. That means when electricity by current flows through the LED, then it is emitting light. We can use multicolor. We can also design multicolor LEDs. That means that LED will produce one color under forward biasing condition, and it will produce another color when it is reverse biased. So multicolor LEDs are also available. Now let us discuss about some merits of LEDs. Nowadays, LEDs are widely used and they have replaced the incandescent lamps. We are using LED bulbs at our houses, okay, and we are no longer using those incandescent lamps. It is because LEDs have many advantages. First advantage is that they have low power rating. So advantages of LEDs. Advantages of LEDs. Number one, LEDs have low power rating. It means they consume less power than incandescent lamp. That's why we are using LED bulbs at our houses, because less power, less current is required. So they are low power rating. Number two, LEDs have a very long lifespan, very long lifespan, very long lifespan, 20 years, up to 20 years, up to 20 years. So LED lamp will work for a longer period. So LEDs have very longer lifespan, they have low power rating, and number 3, LEDs are very light. Light means low weight, very light and compact. So these are some of the advantages of LEDs. So we have learned about some special purpose semiconductor diodes. You have to remember these 3 diodes: Zener diode, photodiode, and light emitting diode. So you are mostly asked the questions: distinguish between Zener diode and ordinary junction diode, distinguish between photodiode and light emitting diode, and write the merits or advantages of LEDs. And you have to remember the circuit symbols. You will be asked the question: draw the circuit symbol of a Zener diode, draw the circuit symbol of a photodiode, or draw the circuit symbol of a light emitting diode. So we have finished up the special purpose semiconductor diodes. Dear students, I taught you the electronics part, that is semiconductor physics. Under semiconductor physics, first of all, we learned about the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors and insulators on the basis of energy bands under the heading band theory of solids. So band theory of solids, we discussed about the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors and insulators. So this can be a long question. You will be asked a question that on the what are the important energy bands in solids, and on the basis of band theory you classify the solids as conductors, semiconductors and insulators. Then we discussed about the wide use of semiconductor. Why do we prefer to use semiconductors in electronic industry? Semiconductors, as I told you, they have 2 peculiar properties. That means when temperature increases, their conductivity increases or resistivity decreases. And number 2, when some impurities are added to a pure semiconductor, the conductivity increases. So these are the 2 peculiar properties of semiconductors. And also we can say that in semiconductors 2 types of charge carriers are available, that is holes and free electrons. Okay. Then we learned about PN junction. We learned about the P type and N type semiconductors, P and N type semiconductors. How a P type semiconductor is formed or how a N type semiconductor is formed. So that we discussed. Then we learnt about PN junction. PN junction. PN junction, it is a special design, it is a semiconductor diode, semiconductor device which is formed by combining a P type and N type material. So PN junction, we discuss its working. First of all, we discussed a unbiased PN junction, unbiased PN junction. Then we discuss about forward biased PN junction, forward biased PN junction. We also discuss about reverse biased PN junction. Okay. So here you will get an important question. Discuss the working of PN junction under forward biasing and reverse biasing condition along with the help of VI characteristic. Then we learned about use of PN junction, use of PN junction diode as a rectifier, Rectifier, it is a device which converts alternating current to direct current or AC to DC. Rectifier is of two types, half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. We discussed both half wave and full wave rectifier. Under full wave rectifier, we discussed about center tapped full wave rectifier. We learned about the performance of half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. The performance of the rectifier is decided in terms of its efficiency and ripple factor. A rectifier having very high efficiency and very low ripple factor is a efficient rectifier, and we compare the performance of full wave rectifier with that of half wave rectifier, and we found that the full wave rectifier is more efficient than the half wave rectifier. We discussed about that. But we found that this PN junction diode has no controlling effect. It simply acts as a switch, because when the PN junction is forward biased, it conducts heavily, and when it is reverse biased, it practically does not conduct. So PN junction basically acts as a switch. It has no controlling effect. Then scientists thought how to control the output of a device by help of its input. So that came the device transistor. So the next topic was transistor. As you know that the transistor is a semiconductor device having three terminals: emitter, base and collector terminals. The transistor is of two types, PNP transistor and NPN transistor. We learned about the working of PNP transistor and NPN transistor. In the transistor, there are two PN junctions, one input PN junction, other one output PN junction. Usually input PN junction is emitter base PN junction, and output PN junction is collector base PN junction, and input PN junction is forward biased while output PN junction is reverse biased. So we discuss about working of PNP and NPN transistor. Then we discussed about the transistor configuration, important things that the transistor, it has 3 terminals, but while connecting in a circuit, we require 4 terminals. For that purpose, one of the terminals of the transistor is kept common to both input and output. Accordingly, there are 3 types of transistor configuration, that is a common base, common emitter and a common collector. I explained you the working of transistor under common base configuration and common emitter configuration. We compared them, their current amplification factors, their input characteristics, output characteristics, all these things. And we found that this common emitter transistor configuration is better than common base transistor configuration, because common emitter transistor configuration gives you higher current gain, higher voltage gain, higher power gain, and the amplification factor is much greater than that of common base. And most important is that the common emitter transistor configuration is used over audio frequency range. And the basic use of the transistor is as an amplifier. Amplifier, a device which converts a low or a weak signal into a strong signal. Signal, it is an alternating voltage which contains some information relating to sound, picture, music, speech, etc. So signal is either audio signal or video signal. Usually the signal which we get out of the by help of a microphone or a video camera, that is a weak signal. Weak signal means its amplitude is very small, intensity is small, so it cannot be heard or it cannot be produced to a longer distance. So for that purpose, we have to increase its amplitude, and that process of increasing amplitude of weak signal is known as amplification, and the device is known as amplifier. So the basic function of the transistor is the amplifier. So since the transistor is mainly used as amplifier, I taught about common base and common emitter. I have not taught you this one because common collector configuration is not used for amplification purpose. Why? Because in the common collector configuration, voltage gain is very small. No voltage gain. So output is very small in comparison to input. So common collector configuration is not used for amplification purpose. Common collector configuration is mainly used for impedance matching. For impedance matching, it is not used for amplification purpose. That's why I have not explained you, I have not taught you the common collector configuration. Then we discussed about some special purpose semiconductor diodes. Special purpose semiconductor diodes, we learned about Zener diode, photodiode, light emitting diode. Frequently these three are asked under short questions, or sometimes short notes are also asked. Write a short note on photodiode or light emitting diode or Zener diode. So you have to go through my all videos on semiconductors, starting from my first video on semiconductor, that is band theory of solids. So step by step I have explained everything, and you have to prepare yourself accordingly.